From CR News, the Diversity Equity Club presents the Martin Luther King Jr. Assembly. Here now, Chief Anchor, Time Sasakvanich.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a civil rights legend who delivered the famous I Have a Dream speech and in the 1950s used peaceful protest to lead the movement to counter prejudice and end segregation in the U.S. Earlier this morning, Rivers Diversity and Equity Club hosted a Martin Luther King Jr. Assembly in which Jose Scott, a PhD candidate in public policy and management at the University of Southern California, discussed Dr. King's impact and how his mission still stands strong to this day. Additionally, he also touches on how it can help us build a more connected community. Moreover, there will be performances from Rivers Jazz Band playing pieces related to Black history, and student Remi Smith will be singing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, here is CR News' full coverage of the Assembly.
Thank you to the jazz band for playing Nasty Blues by Mark Karuba with soloists Preston White, Philip Zabaranka Yorosh, Alex Hernandez, and Owen Mulholland. Welcome to the 2023-2024 MLK Jr. Assembly. We would like to remind you that this is a formal assembly, and the expectation is that you will be attentive and respectful. Lift Every Voice and Sing, often referred to as the Black National Anthem, was a hymn written as a poem by NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson in 1900. His brother John Rosamond Johnson later composed the music for the lyrics. The hymn was first performed with a choir of 500 schoolchildren at the segregated Stanton School, where James Weldon Johnson was principal. Johnson's lyrics eloquently captured the solemn yet hopeful appeal for the liberty of Black Americans, and was later adopted by the NAACP and prominently used as a rallying cry during the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. Here to perform Lift Every Voice and Sing is Remi Smith.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Since its inception, the Diversity Equity Club's aim has been to support River by expanding the student body's knowledge of its myriad of ethnic and cultural backgrounds. Today we focus on the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a civil and social rights activist who serves as an archetype of the civil rights movement. When first introduced to the House of Representatives in 1979, MLK Day was rejected, due in part to the government expenses and the fact that Martin Luther King Jr. was a private citizen. The King Center, an organization dedicated to peaceful conflict resolution, enlisted the help of the general public and corporate community to campaign for MLK Day as a federally recognized holiday. In a petition to Congress, 6 million signatures were collected to pass the law, and in a 2006 article from The Nation, it was claimed to be the largest petition in favor of an issue in U.S. history. The third Monday of January is now dedicated to the holiday. As a club, we aspire to carry on Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, whose nonviolent activism devoted to desegregation and integration of people of color succeeds him, and to collectivize in the name of justice and equality. Dedicated to bringing you assemblies that honor and exemplify not only the Reverend's message of unity, but also our core values as a club, the Diversity Equity Club diligently plans River's Martin Luther King Jr. Assembly. We thank the NAACP for sponsoring us and encourage those eligible to visit their table and register to vote at the end of the assembly. We hope you enjoy it.
Our speaker today is a PhD candidate in Public Policy and Management at the University of Southern California's Sol Price School of Public Policy and research assistant at the Center for Economic and Social Research. His research seeks to understand the unintended behavioral impacts of social welfare and poverty alleviation policy, specifically in Black and Brown communities. Join us in welcoming Jose Scott.
All right, I want to start by thanking the Diversity and Equity Club for their gracious invitation and for putting this on, and the NAACP for their support in making this possible. Can we please give them a round of applause? Today we gather to honor the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a legacy of courage, justice, freedom, and the relentless pursuit of equity for all. Dr. King's vision was not only about overcoming the injustices of his time, but importantly, it was about fostering a future where every person, regardless of the color of their skin, can feel like they truly belong. His teachings continue to inspire us to build a community rooted in understanding, empathy, and inclusion. As we reflect on his message today, we should remember the enduring power of his dream and the ongoing relevance of his call for unity and equity. In my work as a behavioral scientist, I explore how feelings of belonging shape our decision-making and the ways we see ourselves and understand our place in the world. In the context of public policy, my field of study, we know, for example, that when people feel a sense of belonging in their community, they're more likely to engage in civic opportunities like voting or advocating for policy initiatives. On the other hand, when people feel excluded or marginalized, it can lead to social disengagement and have adverse mental health impacts. I share this to say that creating inclusive and supportive environments isn't just about social justice, a term that's been weaponized in popular media. It's about laying the groundwork for thriving, safe, and healthy communities and political economic systems that work for everyone and not just some people. You all have an important role to play in turning this ideal into a reality. And today I'll give you 4 ways of how you can do that. The first is by voting. Dr. King said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." This profound statement reminds us of the power and importance of our voice, especially through voting. Although research shows that your generation is on track to be significantly more politically active than the 2 before it, it also shows that out of 10 eligible voters in your generation, only 3 to 5 of them are likely to vote. Said another way, of voting age young adults, between 50 and 70% of them are not likely to vote. That's a lot of political power and capital that's going unused. And as the cliche saying goes, with great power, okay, let's do that one more time. With great power, exactly. Despite larger than usual voter turnout, racial disparities exist in voting still, even with your generation. What this says is that there is still much work to be done in making sure everyone is included in the process. This is especially important considering the looming threat to voting rights across the nation. To be sure, not being eligible to vote does not make you any less valuable of a member of your community, and there are plenty of other ways to get involved. For example, the second way is through everyday actions and interactions. Dr. King emphasized the importance of character and integrity, stating, "The time is always right to do what is right." Standing up against injustice, showing kindness and understanding, and creating an environment where everyone feels like they belong is all of our responsibilities. We do this by making the conscious decision to contribute positively to the community around you. I encourage you to be the leader you're waiting for, to paraphrase the words of Grace Lee Boggs, another civil rights activist. Promote inclusivity in your classrooms, in your extracurricular activities, your sports, and in your everyday interactions with each other. That might look like speaking up when you witness injustice or bullying, lending a listening ear to someone who feels unheard, or simply showing kindness on the day-to-day. Take time to recognize that every action, no matter how small it may seem, can have a profound impact on someone else's sense of belonging and well-being. The third way you all can make your community more inclusive is by engaging in community service and advocacy. Dr. King passionately believed in serving others, stating, "Everyone can be great because anybody can serve." You can get involved in community projects, join or start a club focused on social equity, or volunteer for causes that resonate with you. These activities not only contribute to the betterment of society, but they also help you develop a deeper understanding and connection with the diverse experiences and challenges within your community. Lastly, you can make a difference by engaging in open and respectful dialogue with the people around you, both those with whom you agree and those with whom you disagree. Dr. King understood the importance of communication and building bridges. He once said, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish as fools." In your discussions, whether in the classroom or outside, I encourage you to strive to listen, understand, and empathize. I'm not saying that it will be easy to do so all the time. And by no means am I suggesting that you should accept or tolerate abuse under the guise of debate. But I am saying that, in my experience, it's through these authentic conversations that we learn, grow, and ultimately foster an environment of understanding and belonging for everyone. In closing, I encourage each of you to reflect on what belonging means to you. To leave you with one final Dr. King quote, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Let this be a reminder to speak up for what you know in your heart to be right, and to amplify the voices of those who are often left unheard. As you leave this assembly, I hope that you let the legacy of Dr. King inspire you, not just in moments of reflection, but in your everyday actions. Challenge yourselves to be agents of change and to do your part in creating a community where everyone feels that they truly belong. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a good Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
The jazz band will now play Memories of You by U.B. Blank. James Hubert U.B. Blake was an American pianist and composer of ragtime and jazz music. In 1921, Blake wrote Shuffle Along, one of the first Broadway musicals written and directed by an African American. And this piece will be featuring Preston White on the trumpet. Mariama, and for the past 2 years, I've had the honor and the absolute privilege of leading our school's Diversity Equity Club. So since this is the last MLK Assembly I'll be putting on for you all, I figured I would take a moment to reflect with you all on what Martin Luther King Jr. Day has come to mean for me. So I thought for a long time that the most rewarding part of leading the Diversity Equity Club and being a part of Diversity Equity Club would be enacting visible change, like working with ASB to rebuild a school community ravaged by a global pandemic, or painting a mural to with a local artist to remind every student every day that they're not alone. But it took me a while to realize that in MLK's I Have a Dream speech, right, the one we used to watch every year, it was about more than just Black and white people being in spaces together. It was about more than integration. It was about our ability to embrace the differences of our lived experiences and love each other because of them. So working with you all, my club, has been the greatest joy of my high school career, and you remind me every day that our lives are lived through our relationships with others, the love we give and the love we receive. So I'm grateful and humble to have played a part in carrying MLK's legacy of hope, love, and equality at River. So with that, as you return to your second period class, the jazz band will play Stomping on the Rift by David Berger with soloists by Kellen Ecke and Loa Richards. So again, if you are 16 or 17, you're eligible to register as a future voter, and if you're 18, please register to vote with the NAACP. Thank you.